Oh, welcome to slowly reducing mass. So I've got these all installed and got this bar installed. I didn't show that video because it's kind of it's kind of annoying, but basically what you have to do is, so I used the cover to figure out, where these rotating pieces should be at 0. So basically just line these up so that 0 shows through the window. And I know where this has to be. And at the same time, this piece has to be back against this bar. So what I found was that if you rotate this, just so that if you rotate this piece, just so that the teeth disengage from this rack here, and then line it up, then when you push this back in, then the rack will be in the right position. So basically, rotate this back so that these rocker pieces are free, and then line this up, I think it was like a little bit, maybe one position forward from 0, and then when you rotate this back, engage this, and then it'll be engaged properly. So all these, I verified with the window that all these line up to 0, so it should be good there. So the next thing is going to be the keyboard, so we'll flip this around here. Front. And for the keyboard, what I've done is I've oiled these. So I've oiled this pivot point here, this pivot point here, this pivot point here, and then I've just oiled each of the bottoms of the keys and up here at the top, and I've cleaned up the top as well. When you clean these, you want to be careful. I use denatured alcohol, but that alcohol actually melts the paint slightly, so you just have to, clean them pretty quickly, carefully and quickly, and you don't spend a lot of time scrubbing. So these aren't perfect, and they're not going to be perfect. If you try and get them perfect, you're just going to end up taking the paint off. So I guess if you wanted to, you could repaint these. You probably have to drive this bar out. This is just, it looks like a press fit in each end. So you could drive this out and then take all the keys out and then mask it off and paint it, but we'll go with this for now. So what I'm going to do is I need to make sure that these are all at 0. Or I guess just the one I'm interested in first, and then I have to get this. I have to get this hole on the post in the back there. So I guess actually it wouldn't necessarily have to be at 0 because it'll just line itself up as you move this to its correct position. So we'll try and get this hooked around that. And another thing is you have to be careful of these. Believe that one place should go in between. So we'll try it. Let's see if I can. It's going to be hard for me to do this because the camera is right in front. So lined up so that there. So now I've got my, you can see, well, it was on there, I just moved over and it came off. And there, it fell right off. Let's try this again. That's in, that looks in, that's in. Now this would be held up in the front by that bar, so it wouldn't fall off normally, but I'm not going to put that bar in until we've got all these pieces in. So you can kind of see the idea. I'll double check on this plate arrangement, but I believe that one of these plates will pull back. Yeah, you can see as I push on this, the plate pulls back on here. That would be clearing, and then the other plate should push forward and lock this from moving when they're changing the rotation. So basically one of the plates, and that's why this, let me show you what I'm talking about. This folded up section here, I've got in between these two plates here. So this front plate, when it rocks back, should pull on here. When it pulls on there, it'll clear it. And then the other plate, when it rocks forward during a machine cycle, so it'll push it forward. And that pushing it forward will lock it so that you can't push or release any keys during the operation cycle. So, this is falling off now. So I'm going to go through and get all of these on. This is going to be kind of an annoying operation trying to get everything lined up without falling apart. This has misaligned itself so that that riser on the this joint here had just come apart. It's like that. It's pretty easy to put those apart. So let's start back together. So I'm going to get all these put back in, and then should be able to install the bar in the front and play with it a little bit. So I got all those back in, put this bar back in the front, and we just get these countersunk screws that go in each one to hold into that bar. So once I've got all these in, then I'll tighten the bar down because this bar like isn't pinned to anything, so it can just rotate. So I want to make sure that I get this bar, because it's square, lined up exactly with all these before I tighten the screws on each side. And I actually found it was easier because you can lift this plate forward. It's actually easier to lift this forward, and then you can just slide these under and lift them up in, making sure to get the pin hooked on. So I'll get all those screws in, and then I think actually we can put the base on. Okay, so I think we're ready to put that base back on. Now, I think that the mystery nut that we found, which was this one, just sitting in the back of the machine, you can see this post here, and there's one missing there. I think this used to be there on that post, and that doesn't really do anything. It's just if you can really see, but it's just a screw sticking out the bottom. So I don't know what exactly the point of those are, but they don't do anything with the mechanism. So I'm not gonna worry too much about it. So theoretically, we should be able to. Probably should flip this around and put it on upside down. See if we can. So we'll flip this upside down like that, and now also put this piece in. This is the shifter thing because I don't want to take the table pin out, so I'm just going to drop this in like this. Sure it goes in the right hole and everything. Actually, I think I will. I'm gonna work this up through. Okay, maybe. There we go. It doesn't have to go all the way, it just has to go like right where it belongs. That should be fine for now. This has to come out like that. Shall we just get this aligned properly here? That'll be good enough. When this plate goes on for the last time, should hopefully line up correctly. There we go. Alright, so let that sit like that. This will screw on when we put that on. This will have to be up somewhat. We'll worry about that later. Alright. And this will just brush it off a little bit, make sure no dirt's going to fall into the mechanism. And then we should be able to just put this over like this. Make sure that our dangling pieces are shot. So I'm going to hold up the dangling pieces there just as I get this lined up. There should be a valve on each side. I might have lost one. So look for that. That valve is missing. It should just line right up, theoretically. Of course it's not. Something is not lining up. So let me. Might be this valve in here. let me see if I can get everything lined up here. I think what's holding us up is this dowel pin here for the middle piece is not lining up. Alright, so I got the base on. What had happened was the levers on the bottom of the column, some of them had fallen off their little peg there, and they wouldn't line up with the slots in the bracket on the bottom. So after I just popped those back on, then it basically just slid right on. And when I tightened down the screws, pretty much everything just, tightened down nice and evenly. It's not like, we were stressing the casting or anything. Just basically just slid right on, and then the screws just screwed in and got tight like at the bottom. So I think that's a nice good fit on there, which should be good. So the next thing is this piece has to go in. This piece, well, I mean, it has to get screwed down. This goes down here, and this is what spring detents, so you can hear everything going back to 0 as I pull on that. That spring detents everything back to 0. That just gets these little screws like that. You can see there's wear marks on that hole and that hole, so that's where the screws came out of. They want to use this piece in 2 different machines, and maybe that's why there's different holes in it. So probably going to be hard to do this on a camera because I'm going to have to fight the spring tension to get this in. Let's see if we can start one of these, but probably not. Oh, maybe. Okay, so that one's started. We can get the other one started here. Alright, so I'll screw that down. Right, and then I also took loose, well, I thought I did, it needs to be pinned down. This piece here is not aligned properly, it looks like, so I'm going to have to take this out and then realign it and then screw it back in. I thought it would just pop out, but it actually seems to be dowel pinned in. And it's actually nice that they dowel pin this up because it gives you like a positive alignment, where it's supposed to go. So I'll have to work that out and then realign it and screw it back in. But theoretically, if we flip this around now, because everything is spring detented to 0, and we should be able to enter some numbers like 002323, that lines up. And if we turn the crank, everything should go smoothly, unless this is going to cause a problem, so we'll have to watch out for that. Yep, goes right around. Right, so that works. And then this should be the clear key. Yeah, so that clear key works. So I think I'm going to realign this. This will be for like the auto clear and probably the lock each time, so that'll have to get fixed. But we're making progress here, so I think I'll split the video here. Oh, I also had to mention I put 1 screw in the cover to hold this from flopping around, and I put 1 screw in the bracket in the bottom of this just to keep this in line. You see it is lined up, it does do the shifting action there. Just to keep that in place. So I think I'm going to split this video here. We've got a few more parts to put on, and then hopefully we can try some calculations. So our next video will be realigning this, and then probably installing the carriage, and then we can try out some calculations. So actually this is, you should have springed back to 0, so I have to check that out. So I cleared the keyboard. It didn't return, so that'll be, well, I'll have to check that out. Anyway, So that's going to be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching.